Hi, I'm John Montague of the Buffalo Maritime Center, and we're really excited about reporting on the Buffalo Maritime Center's Seneca Chief project.
And I'm Roger Allen, the Master Boat Builder on the project. And I want to tell you, they've asked us to do an update, and you've all heard John and I talk, and they've made us do it in a film so that it can be edited, because you know that John and I could keep you here for the rest of the day telling you this story.
With the bicentennial of the Erie Canal coming up in 2025, we thought it'd be a good idea to recreate the Wedding of the Waters as a historic event that had worldwide implications. So we came up with the idea of building a canal boat, an authentic canal boat, of which none exist at this moment, to commemorate that and reenact the whole Wedding of the Waters project.
And Buffalo Maritime Center specializes in public boat building, which means we get the public involved. So we have a staff of two, me and Greg Dudley, and we work with over 100 volunteers who are actually doing the work of building the Seneca Chief.
The whole idea of building this with volunteers and building it in public was to make it a phenomenon for the whole city, to kind of develop a kind of sense of identity for Buffalo, but also for all of the buildings and all the towns and so forth along the Erie Canal.
And so the project is going on in this wonderful building built by the state of New York for this project, and it's being built next to the mouth of the historic Erie Canal.
And we've done a lot of research on canal boats over the years, probably going back at least 10, maybe even 15 years. And finally, over that period of time, we've come up with what we think is a pretty credible version of what a canal boat, a line boat, even packet boat style boat would have been in 1825.
And so what I did was I got to work with a really talented naval architect, and we took all of the research we had, all of the verbal descriptions, and all of the technical information we actually got on the boat, and fed it to a naval architect. We did that in partnership with the city of Lockport, who was very, very interested in the research, and were planning at the time to do a replica of the canal boat. So the naval architects came back with a set of plans that we can actually use to build the boat. There were about 30 pages of plans that provided the information we need to build the boat. And one of them was a lines drawing that we actually used to produce a full-size 73-foot long drawing of the boat. And we used that drawing to actually produce full-size patterns. All of these are patterns for the structural elements in the boat itself. And we have some quite big pieces of oak that we actually processed to build the boat. We did a lot of research so that we know how a traditional boat of this size would have been built in 1824. We had to make a very few changes because of its modern usage. The original packet boats were not generally hauled out of the water in the winter months. They stayed in a mud berth, and the planks were able to stay swelled up because they kept the moisture content up high enough that the planks stayed tight. The one thing we've done, which is a little bit of a modern compromise, was we're actually double planking the hull. There are 2 layers of 1-inch thick planking here, and the planks are scarfed, which means we've done these long tapering cuts, and there will be a matching tapering cut with the next plank that goes on here, and that's glued, so that we don't have the advantage of getting 40-foot long planks the way the original boat builders would have, and this takes care of that, and it's a modern compromise in the construction of the boat. We've also added a matrix here. We've put a little bit of modern materials in the middle to help us deal with this 2 layers of planking that they wouldn't have had to deal with in the original construction.
One of the things that impressed all of us when we started actually building this boat, that it takes almost 2 people at least to lift almost every piece for this. That's quite different from building canoes and sailboats and some of the other boats that we've done over the years.
One of the reasons why everything is so heavy is we're using the original kinds of materials they would have used in a high quality canal boat, line boat of the 1825 period. This is a great example of the raw materials we've started out with. This is white oak, and most of the framing in the boat is actually white oak. And then we've actually had to take some of the big timbers and steam bend them in place, which was a 6-hour process that took a full crew. Currently, we are planking the exterior of the boat, and as you can see, we've been working on the interior. The foredeck is in. We have the sole of the cabin in the boat, and we've actually started putting up the cabin sides. These are the timbers we're using. Again, it's white oak timber framing. We're locating the door and the windows, and we have crews working 7 days of the week at this point building this boat so that we can meet our deadline. So we have until September 14th to get all of the major structural elements of the boat completed, and then we're going to be moving to the interior to finish her up until our launching in May of 2024.
Okay, when we get into the water, we're going to start doing some sea trials in the summer of 2024. We're going to visit some local sites, work out our logistics of how we handle the boat. That's going to take some learning, on-site learning. And then in 2025, of course, we're planning to do the Wedding of the Waters reenactment, and that's going to be a big project. And we're working right now on getting connections with lots of other towns along the canal and so forth, and we invite you to get involved with that particularly. We're looking forward to leaning on a lot of people when that begins to happen. That'll be in the summer of 2025.
So we need your support. We need you to get involved. If you want to come and work on the boat, please do. We have an excellent safety program we run people through, and everybody works in an apprenticeship system here. So if you want to come and get your hands on this project, I urge you to do so. We'll put you with a bunch of people that have been working on it since the beginning, and please do. We have
You can take credit for it.
Yeah, you can say you did this historic moment, because this is an incredible historic moment for the state of New York.
There's so many people to thank in this project. We want to particularly give a shout out to the Canal Society. You guys have been wonderful with this. Also, particularly Brian Stratton and the Canal Corporation, the people with the Heritage Corridor. We're excited about the energy that's been built up around this, and really thrilled with this. Dave Rogers.
Here locally, the Buffalo Maritime Center has had some incredible people who have made this possible. Dave and Joan Rogers certainly have made it really possible. They have just jumped in to support the effort, and we can't thank them enough. But I also want to thank the Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation, who's partnered with us. They've made this building available to us through May of launching. And there's no way I can thank the hundreds, literally hundreds of volunteers who work here. They're working here every day except for Sunday, and actually we're even working on Sundays sometimes. We have devoted, really truly dedicated volunteers who bring a world of skills to the project that we're all benefiting from. So when this boat is going up and down the canal, working for you and the state of New York, talking about the Erie Canal, you owe those volunteers a big thanks because they've really made this possible.